Good morning, my Philly sister.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you clear, 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 clear.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for agreeing to take a few moments out of your hectic schedule to have a little chat with me about Kwanzaa and anything else you would like to chat about.
Yes, 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 indeed. Always a pleasure. And
So,
yeah,
so first, let me just say to those that are listening, I'm speaking with my Philly sister Tanita. And if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself and sharing a little bit about who you are, what you do.
I'm Tanita Fadyeyola, and I am originally from Philly, like Mama Pam. And I was born and raised there. Went to school in Pittsburgh and lived in Orlando for many, many years. Moved out to LA, Los Angeles, California, where I still live. I'm bi-coastal now, and I have a retreat home here in Orlando, Florida for community wellness and to do what I do, which is a little bit of everything, but I'm a wellness coach, primarily through movement. I do a lot of healing movement and sacred movement, um, and fitness, yoga, or ancient body wisdom, which is what I like to call it. And I am a curator of some practices, what I call little practices, big rewards, and different little practices that we can use in our lives, like Kwanzaa, in order to elevate ourselves, to be better holistically, to be well and have wellness holistically. So, wellness spiritually, emotionally, uh, uh, energetically, and physically.
Yay. Oh my goodness. You know what? Like I said, you do a lot. You keep it moving. No question about that. So you
Yeah.
you know that yesterday I had a conversation with Lawanda, who is hosting day two of our Kwanzaa celebration in Orlando, Kuji
Yes,
Chakalia.
indeed.
And so we can either one have you talk a little bit about either the history of Kwanzaa and then slide into the day that you are hosting, and you can give us a little bit of inside information about what we can expect, or I'm just going to let you do it how you want to do it. So how do you want to proceed?
Right. Well, we can talk about that, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. If any questions come up, you can certainly come our way. It all combines. I'm a 365 Kwanzaa person where I'm like we Kwanzaa 365 days.
As
So I actually
as do I.
keep my Kwanzaa stuff up. I don't take it down. It stays up in my house all year long.
Wow, that's really cool. I don't keep mine up, but I try to live the principles 365 days. And I think that's what we as a community, we have to keep in mind, that it's not just a 7 day celebration. It should be a whole life. Every day you wake up, give thanks, give gratitude, and try to work those principles into your everyday communications and interactions with everybody. Okay.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It's very Kwanzaa is great for a great foundation, guiding foundation, I think, for reclaiming our culture, reclaiming ourselves as African people, traditions, and not just African people. People all over the world need to really take a look at Kwanzaa. I think we would all be better when we add on Kwanzaa, but and in particularly African people, um, Kwanzaa can be good foundation, guiding foundation for restoration, restoring our cultures and our traditions, our family, the richness of who it is that we are, not just reflecting on our present, our past, but also our present. And um, protocol really, it's a really beautiful way for us to incorporate and integrate our culture on a regular and not just for holidays and things like that. That's cool if we do it for holidays too. Good. I'll take anything I can get. But
I
yeah,
agree
definitely.
with you. And I think it's interesting that here we are, it's 2021, and there are still so many people, not just people of color, but specifically and particularly people of color who still have no clue about what Kwanzaa is. I mean, growing up in Philly, you know, I was surrounded by my people. You know, we had the Odunde Festival. And so when I moved here to Central Florida almost 30 years ago, I had been celebrating Kwanzaa in Philadelphia. When I came to Orlando, I would, the first day of Kwanzaa Emoja, I would have people come to my home and they were just like, OMG. Okay. And I'm like,
Yes.
you know, and for me, it was like a multicultural kind of a thing for me because I know people from all over the world and everybody embraced it because they understood it was not a religious celebration. It was a cultural celebration of the greatness that all of us, we the people, we all come from Mother Africa. Okay. And it was an opportunity for them to be at my home and meet people from all over because I know people from all over the world. And we would just sit and talk and share, you know, principles or thoughts about what emoji or unity meant to us. We would have food, we would have drink, we would have music.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we need to be. And even people would wear, I mean, I would always wear, you know, African clothing, but even some of my friends who were from Europe and other places, they would go deep and they would show up. And I was like, there you go. You can
Yes.
see,
Yes.
you can
Yes.
celebrate
Yes.
Mother Africa and put your Africa on for the day or however many days you want to do it. So I
Right.
think you are
Right.
correct that, and for those who do not know the history of Kwanzaa or what Kwanzaa is. Yesterday, when I spoke to Lawanda, we told people to go and watch on YouTube The Black Candle,
Yes.
which is an
That's
excellent starting point. It will give you a little bit of the history. But is there anything? And I know where you are in LA. I know the folks in LA. They all up on it, are they not?
Yes, they are. And well, you know, LA being the birthplace, one of the birthplaces
Yes,
of Kwanzaa with Dr. Maulana Karenga.
yes.
Yes, indeed. I actually had that was one of my not I shouldn't say bucket list, but I definitely once I moved to LA, I was like, how am I going to be in LA and not go to an LA Kwanzaa. I'm not go to where it's founded. But I can tell you that and there's over the years I've been to a few different Kwanzaas, and there's those of us who I call, you know, culture. We are the keepers of the culture,
Okay.
who insist that it happens no matter what. My husband and myself are keepers in the culture in the city of Glendale, in the Los Angeles County area that had not been celebrated. I can tell you that when we first had our first Kwanzaa in Glendale, community Kwanzaa in Glendale, because we was practicing at home, and then I said, you know what, let's open it up like we used to in Orlando and do a community Kwanzaa instead of going all the way down into LA, because we needed to be able to focus on our area that we lived in.
Yes.
And it was amazing how many people had not known that LA was the birthplace of Kwanzaa.
Wow.
Yeah, it was every kind of person, you know, black, white, Asian, all the folks. So that was something that I realized, and yeah, so you know, it's happening. It is celebrated. You know, I've known even though folks who in Mexico who carry the culture there, on you know from the West Coast, and definitely doing it. You know, and then we had the sacred pause. That's what I'm calling the sacred pause of the 19 happened, and I know people I know in LA it was very locked down, and for the last 3 years we haven't had a lot of in person, so it was kind of back to the home, you know,
Right.
there, which was very interesting also because I realized that you know cult, Kwanzaa had become now this kind of like spectator sport where folks would show up, you do all the work and kind of put everything, show up, and they
Speak
were
the
like,
truth.
okay, this is our Kwanzaa. And so, but what I've tried to do over the years is keep encouraging folks to, you know, that it doesn't have to be this big hustle and bustle. It's not like the other holidays. You don't have to have all these pre things and presents to go running around to the store and all these things. Everything for Kwanzaa, you should pretty much have in your home. You should have a plant in your home. You should have some candles in your home. You should have some pictures of your ancestors in your home. Have some books in your home. Almost everything outside of the Kanara, we have at home. You got a mat, a piece of fabric. You have, maybe the corn that represents the children, but you have your children.
Exactly.
Have all of those symbols of Kwanzaa. So um, I like to, yeah, we can, like I said, we can talk about Kwanzaa, but I like people to, do your own homework, go out there and really research. Like we have access to so much information now. There is really no reason for anyone not to know Kwanzaa, except that you haven't made it an intention. We have not been intentional about it. That's what I say now, because we can find out about everything else. We can spend, you know, 257 hours on TikTok, IG, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Then we can certainly spend, 15 minutes in a day or 30 minutes in a day to take a look see and see about, what's happening in our culture.
And not just our culture, what's happening with you, because just this morning I got up, I had my coffee, lit my incense, wrote in my journal, today is winter solstice. uh,
Yes.
and we're moving into the moon being in Capricorn, and like I tell people all the time, if our bodies are more than 75% water, and if natural bodies of water are affected by the moon cycles, and why wouldn't you think that your body, that you would not be affected by the changes in the cycles in the moon? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, in fact, right? They say during the when the moon cycle, when during the full moon, it affects people's energetically so much physically. Like physically, it changes our body temperatures that the sheriff's department, the police departments get prepared because they know that our body temperatures are going to go up at least by 1 degree, they say, during
Wow.
a full moon. And so they actually are more at alert for some things to be a little bit imbalanced during that time of the month.
It is very interesting. And so, I mean, as long as I have known you, I mean, you've always done like African dance, and so I know you still do some of that, and then you segue that into your move with Tanita. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, and then we can talk about what day you're hosting? Um,
Absolutely. Yes, so I started off, I can go way back, but I'm going to try to keep it brief, but I it was dancing in college. I was part of it in school at the University of Pittsburgh, and we danced all over. And that was, I mean, in addition to Philly, I danced in Philly, Point Breeze Performing Arts. I am a alumni of Point Breeze Performing Arts.
Yay!
And yes, indeed, in South Philadelphia, born and raised. I actually prayed for um that community arts center. The Point Breeze Performing Arts Center was on the corner of my block.
Wow.
So um, if we talk about manifesting practices, aligning ourselves, being grounded and balanced, and like, really tapping into the spirit. And how are we? I was a young girl. I had some dance classes. My mom had put me in ballet really early. Had watched, Debbie Allen and Darcel Wynn on Solid Gold and all of that. Used to cut my unitard up and tie stockings around my head and pretend I was Darcel. I used to teach my sisters like I was Debbie Allen. And
Oh my goodness.
my mom couldn't, girl, listen, honey, you want fame?
You know what I'm
So
saying?
listen, I used to have my sisters on the banister. Come on, let's go. And my mom couldn't really afford it anymore. And so I had to stop taking class. And then I started taking some other classes in school. But I really was pretty much self-taught until I just prayed to God and said, I want a community-based performing arts center, because I knew it had to be so that I could go, could be affordable. And I needed it at the corner. I needed it on the corner of my block. That's what I asked God for. And one day I got up, I was walking to, a cousin's house or something like that. And I saw the sign up at the corner of my block that said, coming soon, Point Breeze Performing Arts Center.
Wow. I
Yeah.
mean, talk about the power of manifestation. And people don't I mean, I say all the time, people probably get sick of me always being upbeat and positive, but that's the only way. I mean, if you exude or try to exude positivity or live your life, like I say, with an open heart and open mind, you know
Yeah,
not what will come your way. And sometimes things don't play out or work out the way we want them to. But I always say things happen for a reason. People come
yeah,
in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
that's right.
And we
That's
just have
right.
to be able to be flexible enough and sometimes be still, because yes, we're all so busy running here, running there, that I think we forget what it's like just to be still and be quiet and do a little, you know, meditation
Yes.
or journaling, or every
Hmm.
night before I go to bed, I light a stick of incense in my bathroom sink.
Yes.
And then as I go to sleep, I'm just wafting off to whatever the scent that I've chosen for that week or the month or whatever. And I really think, for me, it's a way to really connect and just be peaceful, because there's so much negativity, okay,
Yes.
in the world, in our interactions with people, sometimes our family, friends, whatever, that if you can just maintain, and it is hard to try to keep
Yes.
yourself in check and in balance and be upbeat and positive when everybody wants to be boo-hooing and this, that, and the other. But, for those of
No,
us that,
you are fabulous at it. You are one of my favorite
girl,
walking to talk to see, because one is a reminder. You remind me to smile. You remind me to stay charged up. You have a fabulous way. Um, I call it diffusing things.
thank you, sis. I
And
think that's because of my training, as an attorney, being a mediator, arbitrator, trying to get people to understand, we can sit around the table, or we can sit down, we can chat, if everybody, because you know what? Life isn't perfect. Everything isn't peaches and cream. I mean, when it comes to disagreements amongst people, everybody, you got to
yeah,
learn the art of compromise, and you got to learn
yeah,
how to say, if I hurt you or offended you, I am sorry. I mean, the power of an apology, of somebody just taking the high road and saying, if I hurt you, I am sorry, will quickly diffuse the situation. But how many of us have what I like to call cold or unforgiving hearts? We don't know what it's like to forgive
mm-mm.
somebody or forgive yourself. I mean,
Forgive
come on.
yourself. I think that's the biggest thing about the heart, the I call it, empathizing, being able to, I think, one,
Yes,
we have to be able to self-empathize and
yes.
really check in with ourselves, like you said, and then being able to, and then we can group empathize. We can empathize for others. We got to tap into that compassion. That's major. I think that's super super major for us and in our community. And then there's the piece where I think part of the reason the cold heart part happens is, we're so hard on ourselves, and then we project or into others, another experience with other people. And so yes, absolutely, we have to check ourselves. We have to keep it light. We have to defrost the cold heart. We have to ask ourselves, what do we need? And then we can, really, once we identify that, we can try to empathize with somebody else and see what they need, and we can work with that. We can also, like you said, that's just checking in. The forgiveness piece is super super major. Being able to forgive ourselves, forgive others, and apologize even for someone else's perception. Maybe we didn't do anything, we didn't do what they said, but that's how they perceived it, and I can apologize for that. That's what I've learned. And then just acceptance, like really being present, has been my biggest, most powerful piece. One of the days that we're using for Kwanzaa Umoja was my original day, but we're using it for reflection. I had to shift some things in my schedule and come back here for the memorial, the celebration of life for Mama Ann Tony in our community. One of
Yes.
my good, my god sister and good sister friends. Her death actually taught me that, there's a lesson in their acceptance. that there is a level of acceptance we have to have for each other. It's the peace, I think, that comes with us breaking down the conditioning that tells us that we're not worthy or that someone around us is not worthy. We're all worthy, you know?
Exactly. And I think that is what we need to teach our children as a community. We need to embrace it ourselves as adults, young people, and we're sorely lacking in that self-confidence, that self-awareness and that knowledge. And that's why what you do, what we do in Orlando when we, has segued into doing like community-based Kwanzaa celebrations is a wonderful thing, but you can't forget that also the center is your family, and family can be blood, it can be people of like mind, whatever, whatever, whatever.
Yes, yes, family. That's the big part for me, I think, for Kwanzaa is us remembering that one of the, Mama Olabisi, who I, segueing into Kwanzaa. So, the dance part, the African dance part, living in Philly, celebrating Kwanzaa, celebrating it in Pittsburgh, coming down to Orlando. And it wasn't really happening on a community-based level. It was happening in our homes. You were doing it. Baba Latia was doing it. I would go over to Baba Latia's house and we would do things. And I remember the Thurgood Marshall Achievers asked us to come and do a presentation when I had my dance company here, First World Drummers and Dancers in Orlando. And that was one of the first community Kwanzaas that was ever covered, that we knew of, that was covered historically in Orlando. We had a community Kwanzaa over at the Callahan Center way back
Wow.
in the day.
I remember that.
And yes, and it was actually covered. I remember because the news, we were surprised that the news was there and the papers were there, and they were just excited that there was something cultural to cover. And so after we started to get together more. And when a park asked us to do something cultural, and we said, let's do Kwanzaa, Mama Labisi and I. And that was way back in, I think it was 2000 and maybe 6 or 7, that we, maybe even before that, 2005-ish. And so we began to build it out and build it out. And once I left, I know it was taken over, and Panko I soon covered it, and all the different companies, at the Equity Council now, and have come together. And it's just a beautiful thing for us to collaborate and fill in the gap. And it's an opportunity for us to be reflective. It's an opportunity for us to gather and be together, which is really important. It's an opportunity for us each other. But most importantly, it's an opportunity for us to reclaim ourselves and reclaim our family. Mama Olabisi used to always say, the revolution is in your home.
Absolutely.
And making change in our community starts with us. It starts with our family, our immediate family first, right?
Totally agree.
Ourselves, our family, and then branching out our community, our nation. And so that's what it's about. That's what we try to focus on this week. We try to, do the very best we can with what we have. And it's a collaborative effort. We carry that canara throughout. I'm going to be doing Nia. I switch over to Nia, which is Purpose, at the Levy Boys and Girls Club right there on Livingston, in collaboration with my good sister friend Tasha Robinson Banks, Tasha Banks Robinson. I think I'm saying it right.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, we are so grateful. We're going to be reflecting on purpose. We're going to be coming together and doing some community unification activities. And,
Yay.
we're going to have some drumming and we're going to have some dancing because that's in my blood. That's my healing work. That's one of my primary healing pieces is movement is so important for each and every one of us. I always try to do movement that all of us can do, not just the dancers, not just the young people, not just all of us, our elders, our young people, and all of us in between, the men, the women, that we all can do together and get that movement going in our bodies, because that ancient body wisdom is so imperative to our community wellness as well.
Exactly. Movement of the body as one ages is also very important. So, with that said, any final thoughts you want to share until we actually see you at our Kuji Chakalia celebration in Winter Park?
You get you there's a book out that just it's called Celebrating Kwanzaa Every Day. all-in-one guide, journal, planner, and activities. And it's by my good sister friend and one of my sorority sisters, Akila Thompson Robinson, up in Jersey. And she put this together in 3 days because she went
Wow.
online and she couldn't find what she wanted. And another source said, "Girl, you done wrote books, you can do stuff. Just put that thing together." And she did it, and it's amazing. It's an amazing piece. I'm going to encourage I'm going to have a few. I bought a few myself. I'm going to have some there for sale. I'm going to
Yeah.
encourage some
Okay.
others to
Okay.
get it and buy it. Go online. It's on. It is an amazing tool that we can use for our family. So I wanted to share that. I want people to come out and celebrate with us. If you're not celebrating with us, celebrate at your home. Break out, your candle, your water, a glass of water. Put your plan out and just set an intention. You may not have everything, but set an intention. Go get your things now. Don't wait until the day. Oh, that's right. It's Kwanzaa. Go get the things now. While you're shopping, doing your Christmas shopping, your Hanukkah shopping, go ahead and get the corn and get a couple of little things and set it up. It's not anything major, but it's something that you can do. Set the intention, pull out them principles. And if the only thing you do is bring up the principle, read what it's about, and have your children say and your family say what it means to them, then that is integrating, celebrating, and uplifting your family and your culture all at one time.
I totally agree, sis. Thank you. Much love. Much love.
Yes, thank you.
And I will see you when I see you, which is
Yes,
going to be
ma'am, you
soon, a
will.
couple of days. And I'm going
Yes,
to also
indeed.
send you a link to our little discussion we just had. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Wonderful.
Okay. Talk to you.
All
Bye.
right. Yes. Bye bye
And
now.
thank you so much for sharing your thoughts about Kwanzaa and what it means to you and who you are and how you came to be the person that you are, doing what you can to uplift self and community family.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for holding this space.
Thank you. Bye.